All right, Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. And Jeff, let me send that over to you, and let's get that out. I'm going to send a tweet out to that last segment. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this, every time you think, and I'm going to be careful here, but I'm going to be very direct. Every time we think that we have heard the worst about what this administration is capable of, their negligence, their irresponsibility, their incompetence, their coddling of the religion of Islam, which is dedicated to our destruction. Every time we think things can't get worse, we've heard the worst we can possibly hear, along comes a story. Saudi Arabia wouldn't even let this guy into the country because he was a security risk. Saudi Arabia, criminally, home of 15 of the 19 hijackers on 9/11. The home of the most virulent form of Islam in existence. And they knew this guy was so dangerous, they wouldn't even let him into their country. He just wanted to do a pilgrimage to Mecca. They said, no way, Jose, you are not coming in here. And Saudi Arabia warned our Department of Homeland Security about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is criminal negligence on the part of the Department of Homeland Security. Criminal negligence. 3 Americans are dead. 25 of them are moving around in wheelchairs because their legs got blown off. 265 of our fellow Americans had to go to the hospital because our Department of Homeland Security took this warning from Saudi Arabia and ash-canned it, put a match to it, ignored it, tossed it in the garbage. And apparently, it's even worse because apparently the Saudi Interior Minister actually met personally with Barack Obama on January 14, 2013, to warn him about this Tamerlan dude. Now, Saudi Arabia, now here's what's significant. Because our people are saying, well, he went off to Russia. Something happened there and he got radicalized when he went to Russia. How could we have known? Saudi Arabia turned down his application to do a pilgrimage to Mecca a month before he went to Russia. In other words, he was already such a threat to security by the time before he went to Russia. In other words, the implication is very likely he just went to Russia to learn how to make a bomb, blow Americans up. That's the reason he went. He was already radicalized. He was going there on a mission to get the kind of training he needed to blow us to kingdom come. So Saudi Arabia knew a month before he even went to Russia that he was a guy they could not take the chance of letting in the country. And let's see who was the source of this. The Saudi official said this about the letter of warning to our Department of Homeland Security. They sent the letter, but that wasn't enough. They then sent the top guy to meet personally with the president. You understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand this? The Saudi Arabians were so concerned about the threat that this guy represented that they sent their top guy to meet personally with President Obama. In other words, according to the Saudis, President Obama in the Oval Office on January 14, 2013, was warned about this guy by name by the Saudi Interior Minister, a guy by the name of Prince Mohammed bin Naif bin Abdul Aziz. So our own president knew about this guy. They can't claim ignorance on this. They got the letter. They got a personal visit from the Saudi Interior Minister to the President of the United States. And this Saudi guy said, look, this is not the work of Al-Qaeda. This is interesting because the Saudi guy says, look, this is not the work of Al-Qaeda. This Boston thing is beneath them. This is like a firecracker to them. They want something big. So for Al-Qaeda, this is small potatoes. Just blowing up 3 Americans, blowing the limbs off of 25, sending 265 to the hospital. That's chump change. That's kindergarten stuff for Al-Qaeda. And they're still out there, so they're looking to make a bigger strike than this. Now, here's what this official said. This is the 4th time the Saudi Arabian government has given the U.S. specific intel about a possible terror plot, the official said, citing prior warnings about Richard Reed, that's the shoe bomber. Remember, that's the guy that civilians, passengers had to tackle in the plane. He was trying to set his shoes on fire, like the underwear bomber, only he had it hidden in his shoes, couldn't get the couldn't get the thing lit, and they tackled him in time. But the Saudi Arabians warned us about him. What did we do? We did nothing. So the guy gets on one of our planes with bombs in his shoes because we don't act on intel we get from Saudi Arabia. I mean, you got to stop and think about this for a minute. If this guy is such a threat that even Saudi Arabia won't even let him in the country, and they send their top guy to our top guy to warn him about this, I mean, the guy's got to be bad news. It's inexcusable not to take information like that seriously. There were 2 ink cartridge bombs, I don't know if you remember that were put on 2 cargo planes that were headed for the United States from Yemen back in October of 2010. The Saudis alerted us to that, and those explosives were intercepted in Dubai. So again, I mean, I just cannot get over this, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently we've got Jeff found a column by Andy McCarthy I've not had a chance to read, talking about the survey that I mentioned about Islamic attitudes around the world. Let me see if I can grab that. And McCarthy says, look, that's not even the worst of it. In fact, that poll, you really can't trust that poll because it leaves out 3 of the most Islamic countries in the world. I don't think Saudi Arabia was included in that. I don't think that Iran was included in that. And there was somebody, and Libya, Sudan was not included in that. Those countries, I mean, in Saudi Arabia, you can't even have a Bible study. You try to bring a Bible into Saudi Arabia, they confiscate it. You can't even bring a cross, even a cross necklace, into Saudi Arabia. So you're looking at a country that's got to be like 100% virtually Muslim. And, if they find Christians meeting, they just arrested 53 Ethiopians here a couple of months ago for having Bible study like in their hotel where they were staying. They're just there as maids. They bring these people from Indonesia and Ethiopia and other African countries and to serve basically as slaves. They wouldn't even let them have Bible studies. So I can't find that polling data, and I'll see if I can get hold of that Andy McCarthy story column and read it to you. Anyway, like to know your reactions to all of this. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. 888-589-8840 is the number to call, and we will take your reactions to all of this. And we look at what's going on. Let's grab clip number 8, Rob, if we can. 888-589-8840. Well, first of all, let's see if we can do 7, 8, and 9 here. Maybe clip 10, because this has to do with Benghazi. Now, in clip 7, we have the attorney that's representing some of these whistleblowers. Now, remember that whistleblowers have protected status in American law. There are federal laws to protect whistleblowers. You want to blow the whistle on government misconduct, you have protection. And your attorneys, if you're going to complain about government misconduct, the law requires that your attorney and you be given access to the documents that you need to make your case, even if they are classified. And here is the attorney for one of the whistleblowers on Benghazi blowing the whistle on our shoddy security. We've discovered now that Hillary Clinton was the one that rejected the appeal for more security on a cable that has her signature on it. She was the one that denied it. We know now that they were told that al-Qaeda was claiming responsibility for this while the attack was going on. She was trying to pass it off on that YouTube video. And now we find out that the Obama administration, they're trying to lean on these staff members that are willing to go to Congress and tell the truth about what happened in Benghazi. And here's the attorney, Victoria Tenzing.
Martha, I represent a State Department whistleblower who wants to give Congress and me the entire story of Benghazi. And to do so, she or he has to give classified information. The State Department is refusing to give Chairman Issa the process by which I can be cleared and my whistleblower client can be allowed to present this information. So the State Department is violating the law. They are interfering with a federal employee's right to provide information to Congress, which should not ever be interfered with, and the law says that.
So that's the attorney for one of the whistleblowers. The Obama administration is obstructing justice. Now, here's Obama yesterday in a press conference. He was asked specifically about this. You just heard Victoria Tenzing on Fox News. It's not like this is a secret. It's on Fox News. The attorney is holding press conferences all over the place about how State Department personnel are being kept from testifying to Congress. And here's what Obama says yesterday in his press conference.
Benghazi question, I know pieces of this story have been litigated and you've been asked about it, but there are people in your own State Department saying they've been blocked from coming forward, that they survived the terror attack and they want to tell their story. Will you help them come forward and just say it once and for all?
Ed, I'm not familiar with this notion that anybody's been blocked from testifying. So what I'll do is I will find out what exactly you're referring to.
Good grief.
What I've been very clear about from the start is that our job with respect to Benghazi has been to find out exactly what happened, to make sure that U.S. embassies, not just in the Middle East but around the world, are safe and secure, and to bring those who carried it out to justice. But I'll find out what exactly you're referring to.
They hired an attorney because they're saying that they've been blocked from coming forward.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not familiar with it. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? I don't know anything what you're talking about. I'd never heard of this before. I have no clue, Ed Henry of Fox News, what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're saying. I'll get to the bottom of it. I will look into it. And don't forget that President Obama, on the night that the Benghazi attack went down, he was informed about the time that attack started or shortly after it started, and he did not make one single solitary phone call, not all night long. Nobody knows where he spent that. Was making even one single solitary phone call to try to figure out what was going on with American embassy personnel, diplomatic personnel, under assault. Now, he's got time to pick up the phone and call a homosexual basketball player. He's got time to do that. He'll do that in a New York minute. But our personnel under attack in a foreign country, forget about it. So when we come back, we'll have more on this topic. Focal Point AFR Talk. Stay with us.